It's not a real surprise, but it's still nice that the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order has now been officially announced next to 2 other Star Wars games from Respawn. We actually have a ton of Star Wars games coming soon, with some even launching this year, including LEGO Star Wars. Not sure if you watched the new gameplay trailer, it looks really good. So I want to go over that and just tell you about all the upcoming Star Wars games we know about so far. So let's start with one of my most anticipated Star Wars games, which is of course Jedi Fallen Order 2. The first game was amazing, especially for a studio known for first-person shooters. It is confirmed that game director Stick is back. He, by the way, worked on God of War 3 before Jedi Fallen Order. So on the EA website, it is noted that he and his team at the studio are already working on the next game in the action-adventure Star Wars Jedi series. So this hints at the fact that they want to drop the Fallen Order part of the title and that it instead will be called Star Wars Jedi something instead of Fallen Order 2. And this was also reported by Star Wars insider Bespin Bulletin, who did correctly note the LEGO Star Wars release date, which was just confirmed. He also says that the sequel to Fallen Order will feature returning characters from its predecessor, some with larger roles, along with exciting existing Star Wars characters that weren't featured in the first installment. And I totally think that after the success of the first game, they can maybe include some bigger names, although the original of course had some really cool moments. From a gameplay perspective, I hope we get some cool tools or more in-depth skills, just more customization, and this also includes cooler outfits for Cal. I'm kinda done with the ponchos, and of course a better map would already come a long way. Jason Schreier says the sequel has been in production for a while, likely immediately after they finished the previous one in 2019, and that it should be out either this year or next. But the plan right now seems to be the end of 2022, although that can of course get delayed. One final rumor is that we should expect to hear about the game in a significant way before E3 in June, with May the 4th and the Star Wars Celebration on May 26th as the most likely candidates. So I will be keeping an eye out, I can't wait. But again, Respawn is making more new Star Wars games, which is kind of surprising because they already seem to have their hands full with Apex Legends that keeps growing and growing with new game modes and even a substantial mobile release later in the year. And next to that, they also seem to be working on a new IP they're building from scratch. This is still in early development, but yeah, that's another project they have to worry about next to the 2 extra Star Wars games. Although, to be fair, it seems that they're only overseeing the new strategy title, while Bit Reactor is doing the heavy lifting. And is an indie developer that was just founded by old Firaxis developers who worked on XCOM. So pretty funny, their old colleagues who are still at Firaxis are doing another Disney strategy game with Marvel's Midnight Suns. So maybe this Star Wars strategy title will be similar in terms of gameplay. Although that is just my speculation, we don't really have a lot of info. All they noted is that they want to tap the full potential of turn-based tactics games in a way that blurs the line between strategy and action. So likely more active than some of the hardcore turn-based titles. But yeah, it's still super early. You're now, by the way, seeing some Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes footage from EA, which is also turn-based, although it will likely be different than this. Of course, if you liked the video so far, then leaving a like on it would really help me out, and subscribe as I want to keep you up to date on all the future Star Wars games. So now let's look at all the other Star Wars projects that are coming, including one more from Respawn. This is a first-person shooter from the team that just did Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which was an Oculus VR game that launched in December 2020, but seems like this Star Wars game will not be in VR. This project is led by Peter Hirschman, and he says that this Star Wars first-person shooter is a story that he always wanted to tell. And Peter is, by the way, inspired by Star Wars titles like Dark Forces 1 and 2, and he also worked on the older Battlefront games. So I think they're leaning towards a single-player first-person shooter game. Would be really cool. I will totally be keeping an eye out. So you could say after this announcement, nice, EA is doing 3 more Star Wars games. But you could also take another perspective and say, hey, a big one is missing, Battlefront 3. Even though they got Battlefront 2 in a great spot after launch, it's not planned currently, with DICE focusing on Battlefield instead. I did like those games, I think they had a ton of potential, it's just sad that poor launch decisions really ruined them, but I do think that this led to Disney inviting more companies to make Star Wars games like Ubisoft. And where most Star Wars titles are multiplayer or really linear, this will be a story-driven, open-world video game set in the Star Wars galaxy. So it will likely not have the live service and RPG elements that the team behind The Division 2 that is now working on this Star Wars game is known for. And fun fact, by the way, because another team inside Massive is working on the big Avatar game that should launch this year. And during one of the meetings after Disney bought Fox, they saw that the studio also had a passion for Star Wars and were like, okay, why aren't you doing a Star Wars project as well? And I think that bodes well for Avatar, that they were looking at Avatar and were like, this looks good, let them make a Star Wars game too. But yeah, not much else is known about this Ubisoft Star Wars title, but looking at the third-person shooter experience from that Division team, you would think that they're looking at a bounty hunter game, right? Free roaming, multiple planets, picking up contracts. I think it has a ton of potential, but again, this is likely also a few years away. More imminent is Star Wars Hunters, which looks surprisingly great for a mobile and Nintendo Switch game. You pick one of 8 hunters, all based on different Star Wars factions and species, with their own playstyles of course, and abilities. And the idea is that in a team with 3 other people versus another team of 4, you have to fight over specific points in an arena. And these type of games can of course really go either way. It's all about the balance, the depth, but I think the art style, the diverse cast and gameplay styles look really solid. So it's now in soft launch on mobile in certain regions, so it's basically being tested in a real world environment, but that does mean that it's launching soon. It's planned for 2022. And interesting is that it's being made by Saga, that recently got purchased by Take-Two for 12.7 billion. So this could mean that the game gets an even bigger push by that Rockstar publisher. Next to LEGO Star Wars as the other massive Star Wars title in 2022, and then fingers crossed that Jedi Fallen Order 2 makes it as well. And yeah, LEGO Star Wars is really massive. It includes all the episodes and you can play them in any order you want, so relive memorable sequences from the movies in LEGO style of course, or go to different planets via the galaxy map, and here you can choose to continue with the main story or do a ton of side content including side quests, or you can find collectibles for special upgrades. There really seems to be quite a lot here, and also some much needed depth that I kind of missed in previous LEGO games. Like there are also now combos for combat and ranged combat controls. Over 300 characters to collect, which you can then play in a free play mode. This really looks like a game that even if you don't like LEGO but still enjoy Star Wars is worth checking out. It's launching on April 5th, 2022. And currently rumored for 2023, although I can see it launch later as well, is the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake by Aspyr Media. This BioWare RPG has of course been ported over to many platforms already, but this is going to be a full-on remake. This tease is all we have so far, a render from Darth Revan, one of the main characters. I mean, it looks great, and we do know that some familiar voices like Jennifer Hale as Bastilla Shan will be returning in this remake. And Mr. Many Plays says that he has some sources, a link to him of course in the video description. He heard that the combat is going to be more action focused, with God of War and Neo 2 as inspirations, although he notes that it could also end up being like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which of course also changed turn-based gameplay to be more action oriented. We'll have to wait and see. What we do know is that it's a PS5 timed exclusive, while it will also be coming to PC. So yes, a lot of Star Wars projects are coming, but maybe you're already seeing a trend. We just don't know a lot about them yet. We don't have a lot of footage for these projects yet. No, I did not forget Star Wars Eclipse, the most recently announced Star Wars game that did get a really cool cinematic trailer. We know it's set in the High Republic, which is a first for video games. But it of course makes sense with the upcoming movies being set in this time period, which is, by the way, between 200 to 300 years before the Battle of the Death Star in Star Wars A New Hope. Choices seem to have a huge impact on this game, just like previous Quantic Dream titles. Only Quantic Dream is in a tough spot. They got a toxic workplace. They actually lost a court battle about that versus a French newspaper. So they have a hard time attracting a lot of talent, which makes sense because their workplace culture kind of sucks. And I kind of wonder if this game ever comes out. Like, they got the cool cinematic trailer, but yeah, we got some rumblings about the engine not really working, just a ton of behind the scenes issues. We will kind of have to wait and see how it shakes out. And by the way, the next few weeks will likely not see a big Sunday video like this, because I really gotta focus on the big titles coming out. This week, of course, Dying Light 2. After that, Horizon Forbidden West. I already got a code for Horizon Forbidden West. I can announce that. The review will be on February 14th. And yeah, we got, of course, Elden Ring, Dawn of Ragnarok after that, Wonderlands. So just a ton of games to cover. These Sunday videos take a long time to make. So yeah, wanna focus on the games that I want to cover first. And yeah, I think I covered a lot of the Sunday topics that I wanted to discuss already. So I think I will be back in a few weeks with more awesome topics. Thanks for your support on these videos. Hope to see you during streams and coverage of those big games. And of course, subscribe for more content. A like on the video would really help me out. And check out my previous Sunday video if you haven't already on the Activision Microsoft situation. 5 changes that I think will happen now that Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard. For now, I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.